Hey folks, we're back. Thank you for, hey, I like that right in the window. I like that. Way to go, Emily. Quick programming note. I am your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on FYNTV.com. A little programming note that we now have a YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is Voice of Rural America over there on YouTube. So that's it right there. So thank you, Emily, for putting that up. Now, okay, what do we have to... And again, I want to thank D.A. King for the last 2 days, taking us to 11. We're just going to 10 today because we have some other work we have to get done. And I thought... let me see. Do I have this? I must have missed a lot of my pictures today, Emily. A lot of my pictures I forgot to crop and send, or I put them somewhere. I put them somewhere else or something. I don't know where I put them. All right, that being said, I don't have a picture for it, but let's see. Nope, I thought I cropped the picture and put it up. If I keep saying it, it won't be true. But on the AJC, former CBS 46 anchor Sharon Reed joins morning show for Black News Channel with Mike Hill. And I just thought when I read that, so I go through about 40. Oh, by the way, let me just say this. Okay, so about 1 a.m., there was the worst crying. It was like crying outside my front door last night, like 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. I mean, and it sounded like a baby crying. It really did. It sounded like, I mean, it woke me up like, what is that? It's like a baby's crying outside. And I'm thinking that is one of two things, Emily, a bobcat or a Democrat. And there was a chance, you know, that's my joke. That's a true story. Bobcats sound like a baby crying. Seriously. So I really think a bobcat was out there last night. But yeah, it could have been a bobcat or a Democrat crying. One or two things. Anyhow, so I go through about 40 websites in the morning. And that's not a joke. And you people send me stuff. In fact, I'm waiting on a damn update on that PA censuring Toomey if it's out there anywhere. I don't have anything yet. I'd like to see Pat Toomey. I'd like to get an update on that. But so as I'm going through these articles, I see former CBS anchor 46 Sharon Reed joins morning show for Black News Channel with Mike Hill. Now, I thought I was up on a little. I didn't know there was a Black News Channel. Did you? Oh, it doesn't start till Monday, March 1st. I'm not behind, as usual. I am right out in front of things. Former CBS 46 anchor Sharon Reed has joined the Jacksonville, Florida-based Black News Channel for the new morning show starting Monday, March 1st. She will co-host the show with sports broadcaster Mike Hill, who recently married Real Housewives from Atlanta cast member Cynthia Bailey, blah, blah, blah. But the all-black news channel. Why can't we have what if we had the all-white news channel? I'm just saying. I don't know. I mean, I just see things like this, and I think to myself, really? All right, so that being said, yesterday we had, and I know you want your Liz Chaney fix of the day, so we'll give it to you. Give it to you. This one is, now I sent you two. Get not Liz 1, Liz 2. Set up Liz 2. It's a better video. So we're not going to use the one that says Liz 1. So yesterday, McCarthy was asked about Cpac. President Trump attending and speaking at Cpac. Okay. And number 10, Liz Chaney there, as you can see. They asked her, let's see, where's it at? Give me number, okay, there she is. Chaney calls, right, on GOP not to be the party of white supremacy. Remember we've talked about that. And then give me number 18, okay. There's another little quick pick. Oh, no, that wasn't it. That's minimum wage. Oh, here it is, number 20. I'm sorry. Give me number 20. House GOP leaders split over Trump on full display. That's up to Cpac. I've been clear on my views about President Trump. Okay, give me number 22. Reporter asks Kevin McCarthy, do you think Trump should be able to speak at Cpac? And then she says, Congresswoman Chaney, what about you? So let's play Liz number 2 there from the time I have picked out for the audience.
Kids learn in school, like virtual learning.
You and the leadership, especially Congresswoman Chaney, do you believe President Trump should be speaking, or former President?
What's rice does?
Whoa! Accidentally got rice.
Be speaking at Cpac this weekend?
Yes, he should.
Congresswoman Chaney?
That's up to Cpac. I've been clear in my views about President Trump and the extent to which following January 6th, I don't believe that he should be playing a role in the future of the party or the country.
On that high note, thank you all very much.
So the media love that. They're playing it all morning long. Liz Chaney, our friends in Wyoming have the Republican Party. They have censured her. We do await. There are primary challengers there against her. We do await those primary challengers. See if we can't get some of them on the show. Get in touch with our friends out there in Wyoming. But Liz Chaney there, letting you know how she feels about President Donald Trump. You know, we had the reason I want to play that because the media is sensationalizing it. And when you say back home, all right, these lawmakers go to D.C. back home, and you out there, the audience, you remember Joey Corrente. Joey is the GOP chair, Carbon County Republican Party in Wyoming, who wrote the original language to censure Liz Chaney that went all around the state, was adopted by other county GOP at GOP meetings there in the state, and then made it to the state meeting where they censured Liz Chaney. She doesn't care. She doesn't care what her party thinks. She doesn't care what her constituents think. She doesn't care about back home. She keeps doubling down. It's not like when they censured her, she said, okay, I better take in consideration where I'm from, where I represent. But no, she doesn't care at all. They don't care. Now, there's a Jim Jordan, and it's 5 minutes, and I want to play it. I'm running out of time, but I want to play it for a simple reason. I really enjoyed it yesterday because Jordan, and you got to play all 5 minutes because this is a committee hearing, all right? This is a committee hearing about the post office. The post office. So let's play, I think I named it Jim Jordan. I think I did. If I did, let's play that. It's 5 minutes long.
Did you have any protesters at your house last night?
Not last night.
President Biden called for you to resign, Mr. DeJoy?
No, the president has not called for me to resign.
Any member of your board called for you to resign?
No, sir.
None of the Republicans on the board haven't called, any of the Democrats called for it?
We have, it's hard to tell in our board meetings because we all very much act in a bipartisan manner focused on postal issues. But there are two gentlemen that, the chair identified that he's a registered Democrat, and I think there's another gentleman on the board.
Mr. Bloom's a Democrat, right? He
Yeah,
supports
he's a
you.
Democrat. Yep.
Is the chair of this committee, has she called for you to resign this Congress?
She has not.
She called for you to be suspended last Congress, but I don't think she's called for you to resign this Congress, has she?
We've had good conversations on a
Yeah.
variety.
Now, I know where Mr. Conley's at and some of the Democrats, but I mean, last time you were here, you had protesters banging on pots and pans outside your house. You had 90-some people calling for you to resign. You were the worst guy on the planet last time you were here. I just want to know what's changed.
Maybe, that's not for me to answer.
I mean, they were so ticked last time, Mr. DeJoy. They passed a bill. They called us in on a Saturday in August to pass a bill, and then they had a hearing on the bill they passed 2 days later. You remember that?
Sir, it was an unfortunate set of circumstances for me, for my family, for the postal employees, for the postal board. None of it was based in any type of fact. It was sensationalization. But we're through. I'm through that. The board's through that. We're just trying to get our plan, get this legislation passed, and get on with the improvements we need
They
to
passed
make.
a bill on Saturday, August 22nd, a bill they know had no chance of becoming law, a bill that was not even taken up in the Senate. Then they had a hearing on the bill they already passed 2 days later. Normally, you do it the other way around. Normally, you actually have a committee get together, look at the legislation, debate it, discuss it, have witnesses, get expert testimony, all that stuff, and then you maybe pass it out of committee and go to the floor and do it. They called us in special to pass a bill on a Saturday and then had a hearing on Monday, and all that weekend they had protesters at your house disrupting your family and, frankly, your neighbors as well. And now you're telling me you got no one on the Board of Governors asking you to resign, no protesters at your house, the president hasn't asked you to resign, the chairwoman hasn't asked you to resign, and I want to know what's happened. What's different between February 24th, 2021 and August 24th, 2020? What happened in those 6 months? What could explain the Democrats' difference in attitude?
Mr. George, Congressman, I don't want to participate in.
What do you mean you don't want to participate? I'm asking you a question,
Maybe-
a simple
I believe
question. Can you
everybody-
hazard a guess as what might have happened between August 24th, 2020,
I am
when they
hoping-
passed a bill and then had a hearing on it? What may have happened between August 24th, 2020 and February 24th, 2021? What could have happened in the interim there that would change the attitude of Democrats?
One of two things. Either everyone's anxious to hear our new strategic plan, or we had an election.
I'm sure that's it. I'm sure that's it. Still waiting for an answer. I did this to you when you were here last time, Mr. DeJoy. I asked you, to comment on something. You wouldn't do it then either. What happened between August and February? What important event happened?
We had an election.
We had an election. It was all a charade. You not take my word for it. The Wall Street Journal called it a giant conspiracy theory. Called us back in. It was all part of the predicate for laying the groundwork for the mail-in balloting and all the chaos and confusion the Democrats wanted, and the laws that I think they passed in so many states, frankly, in an unconstitutional fashion. It was all about politics. It was all about the election. Agree with that, Mr. DeJoy?
It was a very sensitive time for the nation, and there was a lot of activity.
They accused you of things that they said you were restricting overtime. False. They told you, you were taking the collection boxes, doing something that had never been done before, even though it had been done by every previous Postmaster General. 12,000 of them had been moved by the Obama administration Postmaster General, but somehow you were the worst. Again, all under the guise of creating this crazy chaos that they wanted around the election relative to mail-in balloting, and you were the guy they used to launch it all, to start it all in the summer, when everyone was calling, saying all kinds of, like I said, they had you as the worst guy on the planet back then, and now everything, it seems to be so much better now.
Folks, what happened? An election. I know that was quite lengthy. An election took place. An election. Now let me ask you a question. you talk about ballot drop boxes. First of all, our U.S. mail system. Now, there was a time when I lived in a metropolitan area and I found a mailbox to drop something. Okay? Are these mailboxes really necessary anymore? Are they? Are these bulk mailboxes necessary? These ballot harvesting boxes, are they really necessary? Because see, on those ballot harvesting boxes that say U.S. mail on them, okay, there is no required video surveillance. There's no required chain of custody. They just pick up the mail and they go back and sort it and try to get it on trucks and get it to somewhere. I mean, vote by mail is laced with so much fraud. Vote by mail is so fraudulent. I know you're going to get ready to tell me about Washington State, Colorado, but I'm just telling you that's one. Now, yesterday, fanning the flames, and it's a three-hour hearing yesterday called Fanning the Flames to talk about disinformation. Now, what's the time I put on that? Let's see, I have it here. I sent it to you. Called Fanning the Flames. Now, the reason I want to play this individual on here, Adam Kinzinger from Illinois. We played yesterday his opponent, and I have it down, Emily Fanning the Flames, and start that one at 136.58. I think that's what I have it at. So go ahead and start that one for a minute.
For 5 minutes. Adam, you're up.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks everybody for being here. You know, one of the interesting, when we talk about truth, I mean, I think, you know, when you think back to COVID, I've had people that have sent me, well, how come there's 500,000 that have died from COVID and flu deaths are way down? And that is seen as some kind of a thing that this is really the flu. And, you know, you just got to remind people because we're all wearing masks and keeping distance, and that's how the flu passes. So I do want to say to our panelists who lost a family member and anybody else, I am truly sorry and devastated, and I hope you can find some solace in the work you're doing. You know, lots of what we're talking about, I think the important part here is we look back at past actions and we do a lot of whataboutism. Well, Democrats did this, and the Democrats say the Republicans did this, and you're never going to win an argument that way. I think in the future of disinformation, the key is to call it out in your own party. I'll tell you, if some of you lefties on this panel, you know, call my base and tell them something, they're not going to listen to you. But if I say it, they're much more likely to. And I think that's where it's important for each party and each political philosophy to take a personal account for what you are telling your constituents and people that are listening to you. Because I got to tell you, as much as this debate is important, if this society falls apart, we're going to look back and say, not just we could have done more, we're going to say all the things we argued about were nothing in comparison to the fact that now society has failed and my dad can't get his heart medicine or something like that. So this is deadly serious. And I think it's important for everybody to remember this is far beyond what it means for the next election and who's going to win the majority and anything like that. And we need a 10-part series to cover the way that government officials, media, and the public have contributed to this. But I think we need to focus today on fear and anger associated with our discourse. The national news media has a substantial role in society, but over time we've seen traditional news reporting devolve into opinion reporting. Too often national news outlets give primetime slots to opinion personalities over news reports, and some of these personalities will start a segment by reporting the top lines of a current event, but then they quickly transition and spend more time on expressing their political hot take on the matter. They point figures, they create, you know, political narratives, and more time on that than they do offering important background and details and letting you make your own decision. Plus the fact that we're being hit from every front with all kinds of information. Eventually it's like if you're being attacked on three sides, you're just going to jump into a foxhole and hide and listen to the one person that maybe you trust, and that person can now take a hold of anything you believe and tell you anything. There's plenty of evidence to show that fear mongering and fomenting anger drives engagement and ratings. We know that. And similar constructs, of course, can be applied to social media. Ultimately, this fosters a culture of fear and clickbait to get attention. Civility is not limited to the words we choose or to the tone that we employ. It means respecting one another as equals through our shared humanity. And as it applies to this hearing, civility means prioritizing the reporting of facts over opinions and then trusting the public to interpret the events for themselves and assign the right value. I do want to make a general distinction, though, again, between national and local media, as was discussed. There's always exceptions, but I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of local media and local news. I think it's very fact-based. It can show people, where to get the latest vaccine, what's going on. I think the degradation or the disappearing of local news is a real concern. They also can play a very good role, as we've seen, in exposing scams that are out there that we've seen, for instance, of seniors and others. So I'm all for keeping it local. I do want to ask, though, Professor Turley, mis and disinformation have to be addressed in a bipartisan fashion. We know that foreign actors utilize both to sow the seeds of discord and to threaten democracies across the globe. And at the same time, the most important principle of democracy is the freedom of speech and expression. But I worry that we are crossing into yelling fire in a theater. If it is this dangerous. So let me ask you, I'm interested in exploring the legal ways to curb disinformation and protect the First Amendment. Given the important role the media has, what do you think about these outlets having to make it clear to their audience when their segments are opinion versus fact?
Well, I think that is important. There's a blurring that has occurred. If you go past 6 o'clock on most cable networks, you're pretty much in the realm of opinion today, and it does blur. And I think what you said earlier, Congressman, is really important.
Now, they go through, he's interested in a legal way, and I know I made you listen to a lot of Adam Kidd, a legal way to curb disinformation, okay, and opinion versus fact. This was and I know that might have been a little boring, but this was a 3-hour hearing on fanning the flames, okay? He's interested in a legal way of curbing disinformation. Now, this guy, and we're very close to yelling, or we're at yelling, fire in a crowded theater. Now, who's he referring to? President Donald J. Trump, right? Legal way to curb disinformation. Now, a couple things. I find it interesting on a couple different levels. Give me number 23. Okay, this has come out as we close. Women bear the brunt of job loss, coronavirus job crisis. Okay, job loss 5.3 million, left the workforce 2.5 million. Better child care may help women get back to work. Better child care. Hey, why don't we just do this? Why don't we do the Joe Biden storage container illegals daycare plan and implement that for your children? Yes, we have a daycare system at the border for illegals daycare, that we are running daycares on the border, and we're putting them in storage containers down there, not cages, the kids. But we could help and get you your own storage container for your child today so you can get back to work. Everything's a scam. Number 24, better child care can help women get back to work. Meaning, one more, could there be another step in giving your children to the government? Give me number 36. Number 36, can Biden fix the Postal Service? They fixed the election. Why couldn't they fix the Postal Service? I thought it was fixed. They fixed the election, right? Give me number 27. An uptick in minors crossing the border may result in Biden administration's building more shelters. An uptick in minors crossing the border. What happens when minors cross the border? Parents come, grandparents come, chain migration. Well, we're running a daycare at the border, an uptick of minor. Here's one that just makes my day. I think it's number 28. Is it 28? Isn't this just, it's another Joe Biden miracle. Lawyers have found the parents of 105 separated migrant children in the past month. 105 of those poor kids that Donald Trump ripped from the clutches of their parents, screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." Donald Trump personally on the border, ripping them from their parents. And Joe Biden, another miracle. In just a month, they have found the parents of 105 separated migrant children in the past month. You can't make that up. So today at noon is the hearing. Find it on C-SPAN 3. I'm serious. Because Becerra, they asked him about abortion. I want to see number 15. This is a man who thinks he's a woman. Right. And this man will show up as a woman today at noon on C-SPAN 3 to go through confirmation hearings to be the assistant Health and Human Services Director to block puberty of your children, at least till 12, right? And help form your children or help your children to not form a gender identity just because the hospital or science says whatever. So today, give me number 11. This individual, don't forget, at noon, Levine, okay? At noon today, 10, in a minute, C-SPAN 3. I think I'll go there now. We'll see you tomorrow morning at Circuit World tomorrow morning on fyntv.com. We'll see you there. That's all I have, Emily. You can take us out of here.